Hey, it's Loser, and today's story will be about a paramedic, her visit towards this really creepy place. But before that, if you enjoy creepy and eerie stories told face to face, then you're at the right place. Make sure you leave a subscribe with with the bell notifications on so you can never miss a video and you're always here on time. Kate was a fairly new paramedic, and she had recently graduated. Now, when she was partnered with her preceptor from her own right time, she was quite happy. They had basically spent almost more than 500 hours together in their practice and training sessions and training rides. So they knew each other quite well. On one of their night shifts, they're just hanging at the base, talking to each other and hanging on their phones, when the tone went off at almost exactly 3 a.m. It was a call about a possible stroke. Now, the location was 45 minutes away to where they were. It was in a rural area, so they had to act fast. When they arrive at the destination, at around 35 minutes in, they see that the house is down a long, narrow driveway, which is surrounded by woods and all these trees. Now, as Kate's partner is slowly backing down that driveway, Kate realizes in the side mirror that there's somebody standing on the deck. As they get closer, she can tell it's a woman. She's not moving at all, she's just looking at them, not waving, not saying anything. They get out of the ambulance, grab their bags, and go talk to this lady. The woman speaks really slowly. She says that her husband was feeling sick, but now he seemed okay, and that they should leave. Kate's partner, though, insists that they go at least check his vitals. It would be safer for them to check on his vitals and to see if he's showing any signs of a possible stroke that might still occur. The woman is very reluctant to agree on this. She doesn't really want them to be there. She repeats a couple of times that they should leave, but when Kate's partner insists, and then Kate also agrees that they should check on her husband, she unwillingly accepts. They follow her inside the house, and the front door opens to this mudroom, which then leads to the kitchen. And inside the kitchen, there is this two-sided French door that opens up to possibly another den, and Kate wasn't sure of this. But she immediately realizes that the kitchen is very dimly lit, with a lamp that's standing in the corner of the room, and her husband, the patient, was sitting on the kitchen table, fully clothed, blue jeans, and a very nice button-up shirt. His hair was even combed. And mind you, it was 3:30 a.m. in the morning, so Kate finds this very odd to begin with. She'd never seen another patient be dressed up like he was. Usually they would be in pajamas. They wouldn't really care how they looked like if they were having a stroke. But this man, it was almost as though he was prepared to go to a party. Kate's partner starts taking the man's vitals, and Kate is doing her own assessments, and they're checking on the patient. They're asking him questions, and just as he's about to answer, his wife is just cutting it off and answers for him. Kate's partner asks the woman in a very assertive voice to just let the patient speak. There was a complete silence for a moment, and when Kate takes a look from up her monitors towards that lady, she sees that she's just staring with these open eyes, with the wide open eyes, at her own partner. She's staring at her with such contempt that Kate feels immediately scared, and the hair in the back of her neck just stands up. She feels creeped out by this image. She gets this really horrible feeling that something is wrong. Her gut just wrenches. She has this urge to get out of the house immediately. The look that this lady is giving her partner is inhumane. Kate does not blink for a second. She keeps staring at the lady in hopes that she might realize she's being looked at and just stop staring with that evil, creepy stare. But she doesn't. She doesn't blink. She doesn't move her head. Her partner doesn't really notice because she's still checking the vitals. She's asking questions to the patient, and she's really into her work, unaware of what's going on behind her shoulder. But when she realizes that Kate hadn't spoken in a while, she turns around and looks at her and kind of nods her head and does this with her thumb to ask whether everything was okay. Kate kind of nods and just continues on with her assessment. Later, she would regret doing this though. At some point, the woman had gotten up and left the room. Neither Kate nor her partner had noticed. When Kate looked around, she just realized the woman was gone, which creeped her out a little bit, but it wasn't like this immediate response of we need to leave right now. Now they check on the patient a little bit further and they determine that he's not about to have a stroke, that he was healthy. But they still suggest him taking the ambulance back to the hospital to do further checks and to spend the night at the hospital just to be sure. Now the patient is adamant he definitely does not want to leave. The way he reacts to this is almost creepy in a way because he just gets really riled up at the idea of leaving the house. He just shakes his head, completely making sure that both Kate and her partner understand he cannot leave. There is no way for him to leave the house. Not then, not ever almost. Now Kate and her partner, they look at each other and there's not much to do. The patient had made it quite clear that he was not going to leave this house. So they tell him that he needed to sign a sort of waiver, something that would say, I agree to not be taken to the hospital. This was to make sure that if something were to happen to him later on, Kate or her partner would not be held responsible. So Kate's partner leaves the house to bring the tablet that the man would have to put the signature on. But just as soon as she left, Kate gets that really weird and scared feeling again. She gets that feeling that something or someone was watching her. Now the patient was not looking at her, so she scans the room with her eye to see if someone or if the lady was still around, and immediately sees something that makes her want to vomit. Remember those French doors that would open to another den? It was made of glass, and behind it was that lady. And from the middle of it, there was a peak, and the lady had one of her eyes peeking through those doors and just looking straight at Kate. It was almost visible that she had also a creepy smile there. The rest of her face was not visible at all. The lady was staring right at Kate. Her eyes were almost bulged out of her sockets, and she was not blinking or showing any sort of emotion on her face except for that sinister smile. Now, the patient was still on the kitchen table, and he started rambling on about something in his childhood, just looking out of the window. He was almost not even part of that reality. Kate started slowly stepping backwards, going towards the exit of the room. She didn't want to turn around or start running because she was afraid whatever that thing was would chase her as she turned around. So she didn't want to stop the eye contact. But at the same time, the eye contact made her feel more and more scared by each passing second. As she was stepping backwards towards the door, she heard her partner come back with the tablet, and she was so focused with getting the signature, she just dove right into the topic and explained to the patient what was going on, why he needed to sign it, where he needed to sign, and also immediately realized the wife was gone, and then asked, "Sir, where's your wife?" And this is exactly where things went from creepy to horrifying, because just as her partner asked where his wife was, a very high-pitched voice from the other room, from behind the glass doors, there the lady, still staring with one eye to them, said, "I'm in here, dear," with a smile almost on her face. She was still staring right at them from behind the window. Just as she said it, she just stopped like a stop-motion graphic like this. And there was only one eye visible. It was like this. And she had it completely open. And you could see a smile here from between those cracks. And that's when Kate's partner had locked eyes with that one eye of that lady and had realized where the voice was coming from and what was going on. The eye was still just single, but it was somehow wider now. It was almost bigger. Kate's partner, once she saw this image and heard the voice, let out a gasp and tried to say something, but she couldn't. Her voice didn't come out. She was too afraid. Kate was already prepared. She had already gathered up everything. Immediately, she grabbed her partner by the arm, and together they started walking slowly backwards still keeping eye contact with that single eye behind those cracks and that single half smile that was visible. They didn't want to turn their backs, and eventually they had arrived to the mudroom's wall. Their backs just hit the wall. The woman was now out of view, and they just yelled out something like, "Take care now," and just left the house. Just as they were leaving, though, the patient had turned to them and let out a smile. Now, this was a creepy and sudden smile. When they left the house, they got into the ambulance and immediately locked the doors. They turned on the engine and just sped out of there before something else had happened or before anything else could happen. When they were back at the base, they discussed what had happened, and Kate's partner was kind of angry that she didn't tell her sooner of the things that were going on or the way the woman had stared at her, but they never quite understood what had happened that day. They later just assumed that the woman probably had dementia or something called sundown syndrome. And this is the case where when the sun goes down, your dementia starts to act up and you lose sight of what's going on around you. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know what you're doing anymore. And you're basically almost losing your mind, you could say. It is a very creepy and horrifying condition. They're not sure this was the case with the woman, whether she was already maybe losing her mind, psychotic, dementia. She could have been anything, but they feel lucky to have gotten out alive from that house. Thank you so much for listening to today's stories. I hope you did enjoy them. Please make sure you subscribe and leave a like if you did like it. And don't leave anywhere. We're getting to the best part of the video with a scary, super scary ukulele song. Enjoy. Stay safe. Stay eerie.
Tried to walk home last night, really thought I'd be fine, but then a sudden thump behind. Wait, is that an alien? What was that sound I heard? Jane, please stop fooling around. What do you mean wash the dishes? Do you realize what time it is? I'm getting the creeps again. Look at these goosebumps on my skin. If I'm not back by 8, the delivery guy probably did it. Now I must fade in the dark, get away from everyone. Oh Jane, I'm so afraid. I'm begging you to stay. Is someone watching me as I'm wide asleep? Getting those goosebumps again. Wait, am I peeing? I'm so scared that I'm peeing.